Okay, so here's a game you may or may not have heard of called Mini Ninja, which, as you can guess by the name, is a game about ninjas. So, pretty interesting from the Nintendo DS here. Basically, it's a 3D, platform fighting. You kind of like, I guess, in the same vein as like Zelda or something like that. It's three-dimensional, and it's about ninjas here. Basic gist of the plot, which actually I might show you here at the intro, is that you are a ninja, and basically, evil samurai are taking over the world, and you're one of the only ninjas left in the world who has to stop them. And that's really what the story is. This is near the start here. The samurai are animals turned into samurai, so you need to defeat them and drive them away from your village. And your ultimate goal is to go defeat the samurai leader. And it's all pretty basic, and you have two characters who start off that you can switch back and forth between. You have magic. Right now, the only main magic spell he has is that you can control animals. You have attack. You have a block. You can also use your magic. You can meditate to restore your energy and magic here. It's a very basic 3D, three-dimensional type adventure game here. Kind of reminds me of like almost like a Mystical Ninja or something like that for Nintendo 64. Now, I will say for a Nintendo DS game, the graphics are really good. Honestly, and it looks nice. That's probably the best thing about it, to be honest with you, because a lot of the I accidentally used my magic spell there. A lot of the other stuff, like yeah, here's a little cutscene. Like a lot of the other stuff, kind of just feels like lacking. Like it's hard to explain without experiencing it, but the controls feel stiff almost. Like, the camera, it doesn't follow you very well, and if you try and move around with the camera, it's hard to see, and that's a common problem with games like this. The camera just does not work well at all. Like in this part where you gotta look up and throw a shuriken or something, it's just a hassle there. So the controls, they don't work all that great. To be honest with you, like sometimes stuff will feel delayed. It can be hard to aim. And you're trying to do one thing and it doesn't always work very well. So it's an interesting game though. I mean, later on, you get more spells and more abilities, and you have to fight various bosses. I mean, most of the bosses are pathetically easy. In this game in general, it's not really hard. So the only hardest part you'll probably have is just getting these controls work properly, which for the life of me I cannot seem to. It's a, I want to say, I guess cute is a good word though, and the game doesn't take itself too seriously. It's very light-hearted despite the story, and I think I'll go ahead and go back to the beginning here. Like I said, the animation does look nice. Let's start a new game here so you can just see the little intro they have going. And it just tells you the story here about basically a evil samurai warlord was banished a long time ago and peace came to the world. But one day the warlord returned and began turning animals into samurai warriors to do his bidding so they could rule the land. So this game, I don't think it's an indie game. I haven't even checked who the developer is. But that's the way it seems like. It strikes you as one of those low budget type games that more thoughtfulness was put into it than you would expect as far as like the way it looks, and the way they have the game set up and whatnot. Honestly, I think if the game had been polished over a bit more, particularly in the control area and the way it plays and the way you can move and whatnot, it probably would have been a pretty good game. But because of the issues it has, it does set it back a bit, so it's more like a mediocre type game there. But I'd say if you're a fan of ninjas or you have a couple of hours to kill or something like that, and you can find this game really cheap, you can try it out. It's amusing to say the least there, and the animation isn't too bad to look at. Outside of that, though, if you're not if you don't really fit either of those two things, then I would definitely advise skipping on it. I mean, some of the stuff you just do in this game just seems kind of silly and pointless, and there's just other minor things too. Like, a lot of the time, you're not sure where you're going because the maps are so large. It doesn't point you, in a very good direction. There's no kind of, objective thing that points you in the exact direction you have to go. So you got to go to your map, walk towards where you're going, go out of your map, and walk towards it again. The areas seem unusually large. There's no quest log to keep track of what quests you've completed and what have not. Once you get further in the game there. So it just has all these little minor things that, when put together, can be a really big hassle. But like I said, it's one of those games that is better than you would expect. It's not saying a whole lot, but it's certainly not the worst game I ever played. So if you ever decide to check it out, feel free to let me know. Regardless, I hope that you found this video to be interesting and informative. If you have any feedback or just any comments at all, please feel free to comment my video. I always appreciate that. If you found this to be helpful, please feel free to like my video, subscribe to my channel, and I will definitely look forward to delivering more reviews like this on Nintendo DS games for you here.